Hello everyone, my name is Adam Livingston and I am the Bitcoin Wizard. I have a very highly requested video for you today, so I am extremely excited to get into it. Fun fact, we just hit a Bitcoin all-time high at $123,000 overnight. Did you know that if you bought Ethereum a year ago, you would still be down 3%? Meanwhile, Bitcoin is up 105%. Do not buy assets for stupid clowns. You should have listened to Daddy. Now, we love the bull market, folks, because we're all getting rich together. Please, if you want to get cutting-edge daily analysis during the greatest wealth transfer in human history, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Welcome to the end of sanity and the beginning of financial enlightenment. We're talking MSTR and Bitcoin-backed income and upside again. Get excited. This is a very interesting product, but remember, this is not financial advice. This is financial entertainment. You're looking at a product that on the surface sounds fake, like a fever dream someone had after licking a credit default swap in 2008. But it's real. It's called MST. It's not an ETF, it's not a bond, it's not a stock. It's a financial engine strapped to a warhead of convexity, paying you 80% a year in what they generously call cash distributions. But what I like to call them is call option grease wrung from the carcass of implied volatility. It's leveraged exposure to strategy, which, if you haven't been paying attention, is the world's first publicly traded Bitcoin death cult. A company so committed to stacking sats that they're now functioning as a sovereign monetary entity held together by convertible bonds and Michael Saylor's will to live. And they just raised another $472 million like it was nothing and just crossed 600K BTC. MST gives you 2x exposure to that beast, plus an options overlay that sells covered call spreads on just half of the notional. So the other half, yeah, that part's still unchained, still wild, still capable of vaporizing your brokerage account or turning your ex-wife's alimony payments into yacht fuel. Depends on the week, of course. Oh, and every Thursday you get paid. In what? Not income, not yield. That's a boomer word. You're getting return of capital. That's right, you're being paid back with your own money, just like the US Treasury, but with more honesty. Now you might be wondering, wait, isn't this a terrible idea? Isn't this the kind of thing that blows up pension funds and takes down regional banks? Yes it is. But it's not for them, it's for you. Because you're not a TradFi larva hoping for 6% and a golf retirement. You're a risk-drunk, torque-chasing, volatility-surfing, meta-capital pirate, and you came here to milk the convexity cow until the SEC breaks into your apartment and tases you for selling options without a license. So buckle up, my dearest little goblin kids. This isn't a product, it's a weaponized financial hallucination. And if you aim it right, it might just fund your escape from the fiat plantation. All right, you're wondering how this monstrosity actually functions. How does MST manage to deliver leveraged upside torque and spit out weekly income like a malfunctioning ATM at a Vegas strip club? Two engines, one soul-crushing chassis. Let's break it down. Engine 1, leverage. Not baby leverage, not that weak 1.1x you get at your dad's mutual fund. I'm talking 200% notational exposure to strategy, resets daily, built with total return swaps and deep in-the-money call options. Because why buy stock when you can simulate it with exotic derivatives and a mild gambling addiction? Every 1% move in MSTR gets you 1.5 to 2% in MST. You're not investing, you're steering a jet ski through a hurricane made of Bitcoin volatility and Federal Reserve psychosis. Engine 2 is option income. This is the cash flow part, the part that everybody is attracted to. The ETF is systematically selling credit call spreads on half of the notational. That's right, only half. That's the genius. They cap 100% of one side, leave the other half wild and naked like a Wall Street Bets post. So when MSTR explodes upward, you still get a taste. And what happens to the premium from those option sales, you might ask? They hand it to you. weekly in little gift wrap envelopes labeled return of capital, which is finance speak for you're getting paid with your own money, but we're doing it in such a way that the IRS needs a nap before they can figure out what happened. Meanwhile, a collateral sleeve of short duration treasuries and money market funds quietly simmers in the corner like a chaperone at a swinger key party pretending everything is fine. This is MST. It's a hedged power plant. One half is selling volatility, the other half is chain smoking leverage. And you, sweet, sweet viewer, you get to stand between them and collect the smoke-stained dollars while they fight. It's a machine that monetizes chaos and pays you on Thursdays. So now we talk about scale and how much money has already been funneled into this beautiful insanity. $107.71 million in assets under management. That's not a rounding error. That's a 9-digit vote of confidence from investors who looked at the US dollar, stared at Jerome Powell's dead eyes and said, yeah, I'll take the leverage, the volatility, and the dripping hot options decay. Just make it weekly. And boy, do they. Every Thursday, MST wires you a little love letter. The latest was 27 cents per share, and here's the kicker, 100% return of capital. Let's be clear, they're not giving you profits, they're not giving you dividends, they're giving you back your own cash with style. Like a magician pulling money out of your ear and handing it to you like it's a gift. Except the rabbit is implied volatility and the hat is a swap desk in New York that hasn't slept in 6 years. And the yield 80% annualized. Let me say that again, 80%. In a year where your bank account is paying you thoughts and prayers, this thing is yielding enough to make a trust fund manager cry into his ESG prospectus. But don't get it twisted, this is not passive income, this is aggressive capitalism. It's a slot machine that pays out weekly until it doesn't. And the only reason it hasn't imploded yet is because the underlying asset, strategy, is a Bitcoin-powered doomsday engine that gets stronger the more the fiat system unravels. And we know there's a lot more to unravel. If your midwit alcoholic aunt wasn't buying Bitcoin by last Thanksgiving, it's safe to assume we're still early. So what's MST really doing, you ask? It's feeding you cash while borrowing volatility from tomorrow. It's packaging premium decay as yield. It's turning the violent inefficiencies of the option market into your Thursday lunch budget. And if you're thinking this sounds like the kind of thing that blows up when the VIX sneezes, you're absolutely right, but until then, it's the closest thing to a DeFi yield farm in a 1940 Act wrapper you're ever going to see, and it's working. Now let's talk outcomes, because MST isn't some set it and forget it boomer index fund. This is a path-dependent financial landmine that pays you for dancing on top of it. So let's model what happens over 90 days in 3 realities. Number 1, Bitcoin dies, MSTR drops 30%. MST might go down 45 to 55%. That's not a drawdown, that's a cleansing fire of death. The call spreads make a few bucks, like a dude selling umbrellas during a hurricane, but it's not enough. Leverage gets you double-digit carnage with a side of regret. Your brokerage account sends you a wellness check. Your mom asks you if you've been gambling again, and she threatens to kick you out of her basement. You're going to have to air fry your own pizza rolls. Sucks for you, you should have bought Metaplanets when I told you about it months ago. Number 2, a sideways market, a 3% chop, MST up 5 to 8%. Now we're talking the options income becomes the main character. This is where MST lives its best life. Like a vampire sucking implied volatility out of every candle wick. You clip weekly checks while the market does nothing. This is what we call the theta Goldilocks zone. Not too hot, not too cold, just enough chaos to harvest premium without triggering margin calls. Number 3, Bitcoin explodes, kind of like we're living through right now. I mean, it feels like that. Okay, I won't go that far. It feels like that. You know, it might be up 4%, but it just feels good, doesn't it, folks? MST up 60 to 75%. Yes, you heard me, 75%, and guess what? You still get the distributions because half the book was uncapped. So while TradFi boomers are crying about Nvidia only going up 9% in Q3, you're snorting convexity off of your keyboard and wondering if Belize extradites. This is the paradox. MST wins in bull markets and survives in chop. and MST crashes gloriously in drawdowns, like a phoenix exploding into fire and handing you one last ROC payment before it self-immolates. But if you can time the cycle, if you can feel the tremors of the market like a schizophrenic Jedi who reads IV charts in his dreams, then MST isn't just a trade, it's a volatility-dripping time bomb that you can ride straight into generational wealth, or at least until the SEC bans it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Showdown. On one side, we have MST, a leveraged volatility vampire that feeds on chaos and sends you weekly envelopes of your own capital seasoned with gamma. On the other, MSTY, Yield Max's docile house cat. It purrs, it rolls over, it pays you monthly, and it's so overcollared you'd think it escaped from an HR department. Let's break it down. MST, leverage 2x. You're riding shotgun on a Bitcoin rocket tied to a nuclear options engine. Option overlay 50% capped. Half the book's muzzled, the other half is running naked through the woods with a chainsaw. Distribution, weekly, because waiting a month is for people with patience and a 401k. Annualized payout, 80%, yes, 80. And that's before you tell your accountant it's just ROC, bro. Upside capture, half of a 2x book. You still print on rallies, you still bleed in nukes, but you are very much alive. MSTY leverage, 1x, the ETF equivalent of chamomile tea. Option overlay, 100% capped. You are locked in a padded cell watching upside walk by in a Tesla and wave. Distribution is monthly because the world might end, but you'll still get paid eventually. Distribution rate is 72.9%, still juicy. Let's not pretend it's not, but you're swapping torque for sedatives. And then the upside capture is little to none. You'll break even on a rally if your spreadsheet believes in miracles. Now, I'm not saying MSTY is useless at all. It's a fine product for people who want yield and absolutely zero chance of excitement. It's the ETF equivalent of a gluten-free cracker. Tastes like nothing, but hey, it won't kill ya. But MST is a yield-generating war crime. It's weaponized risk with a payout schedule. It's what happens when you give a volatility trader a license to print checks and a weekly distribution calendar. So the question isn't which is safer, it's do you want to get rich or do you want to die safe in your little TradFi bunk bed? Because only one of these ETFs was built to perform in the fourth turning, and it ain't the one that files quarterly call overwrites and wears an emotional support harness. Okay, let's talk risk, because MST isn't all champagne and weekly paydays. It's also a barely legal derivatives cocktail that could turn your portfolio into a smoldering crater if you blink too slowly during a rate hike. This isn't Vanguard, this is capital markets Russian roulette, folks. So here are the flashpoints, the financial bear traps disguised as yield farming. Number one is compounding drag. Daily reset leverage sounds sexy until you experience sideways high volatility chop. You know what happens? You bleed to death slowly. Like a leveraged ETF out in the sun, MST starts to decay if it's not trending hard. You'll look at your statement and think, wait, MSTR's flat, why am I down 17%? Because, friend, you got theta gutted by time itself. Number two, single issuer plus crypto beta. This entire ETF is built on one name, strategy, and strategy is built on one asset, Bitcoin, which is built on one idea that the fiat system is collapsing and Michael Saylor is the messiah. If Coinbase has a seizure or some legacy newspaper calls BTC a Ponzi, MSTR could gap 30% down overnight. You won't even have time to say volatility surfaced before your brokerage app is frozen and your account is flagged for psychological wellness. Number three, ROC illusion. That 80% yield, it's not a dividend, it's not income, it's literally your own money coming back to you, dressed up as a payout. And you'll love it until you realize your cost basis is now lower than your IQ after watching Jim Cramer. Number four, liquidity and swap risk. The fund's assets under management is $108 million, but its gross notational exposure could be $1 billion plus, which means one bad mark on the swap desk and you're out here explaining to your wife why your Bitcoin income fund is now worth less than your old iPhone. Number 5 is regulatory whiplash. The SEC hates this. They hate single stock leverage. They hate options-based derivative ETFs that simulate financial cocaine. You buy this and you think you're Tony Montana, but the SEC is De Palma in the director's chair, and you're right at the top of the staircase waiting for a shotgun blast. One policy memo and they'll rip the leverage out of MST like it's a DeFi farm on Capitol Hill. You think the rules are clear? Ask ARK what happens when the regulators wake up cranky. So what do we do with all of this? We acknowledge it, and then we do what every real capital markets psychopath does. We size it small, hedge it creatively, and ride it like a stolen horse through the burning ruins of TradFi. Because yes, MST might implode, but if it doesn't, you'll be sitting on a yield volcano with laser eyes, sipping ROC like it's pre-ban for Loco, and explaining convexity to your CPA. And that's the dream, folks. That's the dream. This is it, the final slide, the last time I'm legally allowed to say this without a FINRA guy kicking down the door. MST is not just an ETF, it's a cosmic weapon of financial mass acceleration. A yield-bearing Bitcoin derivative cannon wrapped in a compliant, SEC-registered, politely collared wrapper that pays you for standing in front of a thermonuclear capital event with your mouth open. You think this is about income? No, this is about war. War against fiat, war against time, war against the decay of purchasing power. The death of yield and the zombification of every portfolio that's still clinging to diversified exposure like it's 2006 and bonds still have a soul. MST is your exit vehicle, not out of the system, but above it. It offers you leverage, it offers you cash flow, and it offers you a front row seat to the final speculative assault on monetary entropy. You'll clip weekly checks while TradFi boomers beg their BlackRock mutual funds for 3% annualized Mercy dividends. You'll surf the reflexive premium feedback loop of strategy, while JP Morgan publishes bearish notes on Bitcoin between CBDC PowerPoint slides. And when Bitcoin hits 250K and MSTR is trading like the Vatican of digital capital, you'll look down at your MST position and realize, oh my God, I got rich, being paid to wait. But make no mistake, this is plutonium. You don't buy MST, you wield it, you harness it. You hold it like a god-tier volatility railgun that either prints generational wealth or atomizes your cost basis in a single red candle. So ask yourself, are you here for passive yield? Or are you here to ride the 2x Bitcoin demon into the heart of the fiat apocalypse, while weekly cash erupts into your brokerage like divine capital rainfall? Because the door is open, the trade is alive, and your Thursday payout is calling. My name is Adam Livingston, and I am the Bitcoin Wizard. If you'd like to become a member of this channel to support my work, please click the link in the description. I have a members-only Discord server where you get unfiltered 24/7 access to me. It will be launching extremely soon. Don't wait. Let's have some fun, folks. We're all getting rich together. Let's go. Alternatively, you can subscribe to me on X and receive the exact same benefit. Have a wonderful day, my dearest little goblin children. Please leave a comment on what you'd like me to cover next. Class dismissed.